meeting him, you could tell that that was something that was like a fire burning inside him to get us our due, to get us paid for that labor.
If they talked to him for more than 5 to 10 minutes, the subject of reparations definitely came up.
1967, I was asking for $1 million for each black person.
Ray Jenkins had a career as a realtor in Detroit, very important figure. I remember the first time I met him in the early 90s, and I was producing talk radio in Detroit. And Ray was passionate about the idea of African Americans, descendants of former slaves, receiving reparations. It was a passion of his, certainly toward the end of his adult life. I mean, we called him Reparations Ray. What was cool about that was it had a rhythm to it, right? Reparations Ray, a rhythm.
Reparations Ray was serious as a heart attack.
Ray Jenkins used to call my radio show, Wake Up Detroit.
Wake Up Detroit.
Every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Every day. One topic. JoAnn, we need some reparations. It ain't a handout, it's a dead old. Tell the people, JoAnn. I said, you just told them, Ray. So after some years with him calling every day, I said, now, your name is now Reparations Ray. You're no longer just Ray Jenkins. But his name is down there because people need to know there would be no H.R. 40 introduced reparations by Congressman John Conyers if it had not been for Reparations Ray Jenkins, who followed him all over Detroit. Followed him around to every place he went to speak. Ray would jump up and grab the mic. Congressman, you need to introduce that reparation. Now the Japanese done got some money and an apology. And after 5 years, World War II of imprisonment. But our people suffered 246 years. We built this country and never got paid. And we need reparations, Congressman. And after a number of those kind of speeches, the congressman said, you know, you're right, Ray. He introduced H.R. 40 in 1989. And after the congressman left, resigned from Congress, Sheila Jackson Lee picked it up from Texas. And this year, it's been approved by the House of Representatives. So, but it got started here in Detroit. It's Detroit. So we must honor Reparations Ray Jenkins.
The money will come from the same source that they use the bill of saving the loans out. They're going to pay $161 billion the bill of saving loans out. So why can't they use some money to give reparations to black people?
So you don't have a problem if that increases the deficit that we currently have?
Yeah, let it increase, yeah. It's going to always increase. But if they can find money for other sources, then they can always find money to give black people something for this injustice they suffered for all those number of years.
What about black and white relations?
Black and white relations,
they're just starting to make progress.
Well,
this would be a step
I don't think any progress been made anyway. It's the races has been separated, and by giving us reparations is not going to make the race any worse. The race is already paid already, so how could it get any worse?
You don't think we've made any progress?
No, I don't think it's made any progress whatsoever.
Reparations Ray Jenkins, again, we have another Detroiter who was on the case for reparations before Incorporated was founded, but he's a grassroots kind of guy who was trying to get people to listen to this idea of reparations.
Things changed when President Ronald Reagan gave $1.2 billion to Japanese Americans for their being in internment camps during World War II. And when the general public saw that it is possible to get reparations for wrong things done to a certain class of people, the whole thing flipped the script. They started thinking, oh, well, maybe this could be possible for black Americans. The day that bill was announced, USA Today came to my dad's home and interviewed him because they had just authored that bill not too long before that. So it took on a different ramification as soon as you gave credence to the Japanese Americans.
Over the years, since I started mine in 1967, when I mentioned those reparations to black people and other people, they thought it was a joke.
Yeah. People didn't take you seriously. And so what happened in 1988?
1988, when President Reagan signed the bill to pay the Japanese, then people said, well, maybe this demand is not too ridiculous. And everybody started jumping on the bandwagon. And so, and it's taken off.
So as we mentioned,
we're getting a lot of support now.
That bill is calling for Japanese Americans who were incarcerated in the camps.
That's right.
During World War II to receive $20,000.
Sure, they stayed in concentration camp for 3 years, and they're going to get $20,000 each. And black people stayed in slavery 246 years, then got a nickel.
Well, Reparations Ray was always there. He was always finding extra stuff. Congressman, I think we should include this. I think we should include that. And he would go to meetings for the congressman all through the city of Detroit and travel for him sometimes to get more people aboard for the congressman.
Mr. Jenkins was a stalwart of why we needed it. Something that he told me back in the 1980s, he said this is personal for him, and also his love for black people. He was a realtor by trade, but he said that his father, because I think Mr. Jenkins was born in, I think, Mississippi. And in Memphis, okay. And he said that his father lived to be 103 years old. And for 99 years, he worked and toiled, picked cotton. So our ancestors started working in the cotton fields early on. So that means his father started working at the age of 4. And at the end of his life, at 103, he had nothing, no wealth, no nothing to give to his family, to his, upcoming generations. So Mr. Jenkins reflected on that frequently, and he said that's why we need reparations, and that means cash, along with any programs that come along with it, so that Black Americans can have a foundation, economic foundation, which we consider generational wealth, to stand on.
My grandfather was a slave in Mississippi, and his daughter is right here right now, 89 years old, and she's quite concerned about the 40 acre mule that the black people did not receive, and she's concerned, and we are concerned, and many horrible stories I could really tell what happened to my people personally.
I'd seen him as the torch, the light that never gave up. I mean, made it very clear that if anybody in any group, be it Native Americans, the Japanese, all these other groups that had been given reparations, that African Americans should have reparations.
My dad was a real estate broker by trade. He started as a salesman at a small company on the east side of Detroit, and he realized that he thought, I can do this, I can be my own boss. So he started Ray Jenkins Realty, which was on West McNichols in Wisconsin. He bought a standalone building, and he became a registered real estate broker, and he sold many homes when that area was a majority Jewish area. And when white flight happened, my dad was right in the middle of it, and he made quite a bit of money selling homes to black people, whereas the white Jewish community was moving out. And at the same token, he was always a freedom fighter. And any of his time, when he had time away from that job, he was fighting for the rights of Black Americans, always.
Queen Mother JoAnn Watson, of course, she's the student of the Provisional Government of Republic of New Africa. She's a student of Milton Henry and Richard Henry, who would become Gaidi and Imari Obadele. She's a student of them, and so she grows up as an activist, even in high school. And so she's already channeling that earlier movement and bringing it to her generation. So by the time she's out of school, she's an activist on many fronts. It's hard to believe that she's involved in so many different things. How one person could be in so many different movements. You know, YWCA, NAACP, reparations, political leadership, campaigns, working with Rosa Parks, working with John Conyers, working with Coleman Young. It's hard to believe that one person could do all those things. But she was a whirlwind of energy and a whirlwind of activism.